Motorcycling is full of advice riders swear by. Lay the bike down to avoid a crash. Loud pipes save lives. You have to baby a new engine. Sounds familiar, right? The only problem? It's all completely wrong. Not outdated, not debatable, just wrong. Today, we're busting 21 motorcycle myths that riders still believe, and a few might shock you. Let's kick it off with a myth that refuses to die, even though modern engines have long proven it wrong. At number 21, you must brake in your motorcycle gently for the first 1,000 miles. This myth goes back decades, when engine tolerances weren't as tight as they are now. Riders still think they have to baby the throttle for the first 1,000 miles or risk ruining the engine. But here's the truth. Today's engines are factory tested and broken in before they even reach the showroom. Mechanics say the real goal is varying your speed and load early on, not riding slow. In fact, lugging your engine at low RPMs can cause more harm than opening it up occasionally. Modern oils, precision machining, and synthetic lubricants have made old break-in procedures mostly outdated. Manufacturers still print break-in instructions for warranty safety, but even they know it's more about preventing abuse than mechanical need. The best break-in method? Ride normally, keep oil changes on schedule, and avoid babying the bike like it's made of glass. If you've ever been scared to rev past half throttle during the first few rides, congratulations! You fell for one of the most common motorcycle myths still alive today. At number 20, you need premium gas for better performance. Plenty of riders still think premium fuel automatically means more power or cleaner burning. But unless your bike's manual specifically says it needs high octane, you're wasting money. Premium fuel isn't better, it's just designed for higher compression engines to avoid knocking. Most motorcycles on the road, especially mid-range and commuter models, are tuned for regular unleaded. Using premium won't give you extra horsepower or smoother idle. It simply burns the same, just costs more. In fact, in some engines, higher octane can even lead to incomplete combustion if the bike isn't built for it. Mechanics say they constantly see riders paying for premium just to be safe. But manufacturers tune their bikes for specific octane levels for a reason. Using more than required gives no advantage. The only time premium makes sense is if you've got a performance engine, like a superbike or a tuned adventure model with higher compression. Otherwise, you're just pouring cash into the pump for nothing. Next time, someone swears premium fuel makes their 300cc commuter run stronger, just smile. You now know the science says otherwise. At number 19, loud pipes save lives. Ah yes, the classic defense for making your neighbors hate you. Many riders still believe loud exhausts keep them safe by making car drivers notice them sooner. The truth? Studies and traffic data say otherwise. Sound travels backward, not forward. That means the driver you're approaching usually doesn't hear your exhaust until you've already passed them. Meanwhile, pedestrians, cyclists, and riders behind you get the full blast. Mechanics and safety instructors agree. Visibility, not volume, prevents most crashes. Modern motorcycles already come with powerful LED headlights, reflective accents, and optional daytime running lights that actually do get noticed. And unlike noise, they don't make everyone around you cover their ears. Police departments around the world have started enforcing noise limits more strictly because loud pipes save lives has become an excuse for public disturbance. If you want to stay safe, bright gear and defensive riding will do far more than any decibel level. So next time someone fires up a straight-piped Harley and shouts that it's for safety, remember, noise isn't protection, it's just pollution. At number 18, chain lube is optional if you don't ride much. This myth quietly destroys more bikes than most crashes ever could. Many casual riders think if they only ride once a week, they can skip chain maintenance. Wrong. Even when the bike sits still, humidity, dust, and temperature changes slowly dry out and corrode the chain. Mechanics say one of the most common repair jobs they see is stretched or rusted chains on bikes with low mileage. It's not riding that ruins chains, it's neglect. A little cleaning and lube every few hundred miles, or every few weeks if the bike sits, can double the chain's lifespan. Even sealed O-ring and X-ring chains need lubrication. The lube doesn't just keep the rollers moving smoothly, it also protects against rust and prevents grit from wearing out the seals. Skipping it can lead to stiff links, rough shifting, and eventually a full replacement that costs way more than a $10 can of spray. So, no, I barely ride isn't an excuse. Whether it's daily commuting or weekend cruising, your chain deserves more love than that. At number 17, you have to warm up your motorcycle for 10 minutes before riding. This one comes from the carburetor era, when bikes actually did need time to stabilize fuel delivery. But with today's fuel injection systems, long warm-ups are outdated and wasteful. Mechanics everywhere agree. Idling your modern bike for 10 minutes isn't good care, it's just burning fuel and carbon fouling your plugs. Modern engines are designed to reach operating temperature quickly under light load, meaning the best warm-up is simply riding gently for the first few minutes. Long idle sessions, especially in hot weather, can even cause overheating and oil degradation since air-cooled bikes aren't getting proper airflow. The correct approach? Start your bike, let it idle for 30 to 60 seconds so oil circulates, then ride off smoothly. That's it. Old-timers may still swear by the morning warm-up, but that advice died with choke levers and drum brakes. Unless you're thawing a bike in sub-zero weather, there's no benefit, just wasted time and gas. So skip the 10-minute garage concert, your bike doesn't need it, and your neighbors definitely don't appreciate it. At number 16, you can skip changing brake fluid if the brakes feel fine. A myth that costs riders their stopping power, and sometimes their safety. Brake fluid might look clean, but it absorbs moisture over time, which lowers its boiling point and reduces braking efficiency. Many riders think, if the lever feels normal, I'm good. But by the time you notice sponginess, your braking system's already compromised. Moisture can corrode calipers and master cylinders internally, leading to expensive repairs or, worse, brake fade on a long downhill ride. Mechanics recommend changing brake fluid every 2 years, even if the brakes seem okay. It's cheap preventive maintenance that keeps performance consistent. In humid climates, once a year is even smarter. Skipping it won't kill your bike overnight, but over time, it eats away at reliability and safety. And if you're riding something older, contaminated fluid can even seize up pistons or eat through seals. Brake fluid isn't forever, it's the silent hero that keeps your stopping sharp. Ignore it long enough, and you'll find out the hard way why this myth needs to die. At number 15, motorcycles are dangerous no matter how careful you are. This myth has scared away countless would-be riders, but it's not entirely true. Yes, motorcycles come with higher risk, you're exposed and less protected, but danger depends more on the rider than the machine. Statistics from 2025 show that riders who wear proper gear, stay sober, and take safety courses reduce their crash risk by over 60%. Most serious motorcycle crashes involve speed, alcohol, or inexperience. Mechanics and instructors constantly remind new riders. Modern bikes come with ABS, traction control, cornering assist, and stability management, tools that drastically improve safety. Yet people still think riding is automatically dangerous, ignoring how much training and discipline matter. It's similar to driving a sports car. You can cruise responsibly, or you can floor it and blame the car when things go wrong. Good riders treat motorcycles with respect, not fear. The truth? A motorcycle is only as dangerous as the person riding it. Safety gear, awareness, and a calm mindset do more to save lives than horsepower ever will. So no, motorcycles aren't death traps. They're precision machines that reward skill and punish carelessness, just like any high-performance vehicle. At number 14, you can use car engine oil in a motorcycle. Mechanics hate this one. Many riders still believe oil is oil, but motorcycle engines work completely differently. Car oil is designed for engines that don't share lubrication with the transmission, while most motorcycle engines do. Car oils often contain friction modifiers that help cars improve fuel economy, but those additives wreak havoc on motorcycle motorcycle clutches. They cause clutch slip, glazing, and even premature gearbox wear. It's one of the fastest ways to ruin a bike's performance. Motorcycle-specific oil, on the other hand, is formulated to handle high revs, combined engine/gearbox systems, and wet clutches. It's built to protect parts that car engines never have to worry about. Some riders argue they've used car oil for years without problems, but that's like saying you've smoked for years without coughing. It doesn't mean it's good for you. Mechanics see the damage later, when engines start running hotter, shifting gets rougher, and clutch plates glaze. Bottom line, car oil and motorcycle oil are not the same. Spend the few extra dollars, your transmission, clutch, and sanity will thank you later. At number 13, synthetic oil causes engine leaks. This myth has been hanging around since the 1980s, and it still refuses to die. Riders often say, don't switch to synthetic or it'll make your bike leak oil. The truth is, synthetic oil doesn't cause leaks. It just exposes ones that were already there. Back when synthetic oils first hit the market, they used different base materials that sometimes reacted with old gasket materials, causing seepage. But modern synthetics are fully compatible with all standard seal types. What actually happens is that synthetic oil cleans away old sludge and carbon buildup, the stuff that was plugging tiny leaks before. When that buildup dissolves, leaks that were already there simply become visible. In reality, synthetic oil protects better at high temperatures, resists breakdown longer, and improves startup lubrication. All things your engine will love. Mechanics now recommend switching to synthetic for nearly every modern motorcycle once it's properly broken in. So, no, your bike won't suddenly start bleeding oil because of synthetic. If it leaks afterward, the gasket was already tired. Synthetic just told the truth faster. So instead of blaming the oil, thank it. It's showing you what your old seals were hiding all along. At number 12, tires last for years if you don't ride much. This one fools a lot of casual riders. They look at their tread depth, see it's fine, and think the tires are still good. But tire rubber doesn't age like wine. It hardens, cracks, and loses grip long before it's worn out. Most motorcycle tires have a lifespan of about 5 years from the manufacturing date, not from when you installed them. Even if the tread looks new, the rubber compounds lose elasticity and traction with time. Mechanics say they've seen countless low-mileage bikes with perfect-looking tires that feel like plastic once they hit the road. The danger isn't just reduced grip, it's unpredictable handling. Old tires can slide without warning, especially in corners or rain. That's why every tire has a date code stamped on the sidewall. If it's past 5 or 6 years old, replace it. Period. One more thing. Storage matters. Tires left sitting under the sun or in hot garages age twice as fast. If your bike's been parked more than it's been ridden, chances are your tires are more decoration than traction by now. So even if you're not clocking big miles, your tires still have an expiration date, and ignoring it can end your ride faster than you think. At number 11, bigger engines are always better. Many riders, especially beginners, think more displacement automatically means a better motorcycle. More power, more speed, more fun, right? Not exactly. Mechanics know this is one of the most misleading beliefs out there. A bigger engine doesn't always translate to a better riding experience. Sure, you get more horsepower, but you also get more heat, more fuel consumption, higher insurance costs, and heavier weight. Most riders don't even use half the power available on big bikes. For everyday commutes, smaller engines like 300 or 400 cubic centimeters actually perform better because they're lighter, easier to handle, and more forgiving in traffic. Even longtime mechanics say the happiest riders are usually the ones on mid-range machines, bikes that balance power and practicality. Models like the Yamaha MT-07 or Honda CB500F prove that balance often beats brute force. The truth is, a big engine can be a burden if you're not using it. More power means more maintenance and higher costs. Meanwhile, a smaller bike that fits your style, height, and strength will give you more confidence and control. Two things raw horsepower can never replace. So no, bigger doesn't mean better. It just means heavier, hotter, and sometimes harder to live with. At number 10, helmet laws violate freedom. This one isn't just a myth, it's a dangerous mindset. Some writers argue that wearing a helmet should be a personal choice, not a law. But every mechanic and safety expert who's seen the aftermath of a crash will tell you helmets save lives, period. Statistically, helmets reduce the risk of head injury by about 69% and the risk of death by nearly 40%. Those aren't opinions. They're facts from decades of crash data. And no, helmets don't block your view or hearing as much as old myths claim. Modern designs have wide visors, ventilation, and noise control that make them safer and more comfortable. Mechanics often say the riders who protest helmet laws the loudest are the ones who've never actually seen what happens in a head-first impact. Freedom ends where brain damage begins. And that's a harsh reality the road doesn't care about. Wearing a helmet isn't about losing freedom. It's about keeping the freedom to ride another day. So, if you think helmets are just for rule followers, remember, even the best rider can't outsmart a distracted driver. At number 9, loud pipes save lives. This myth refuses to die, especially among cruiser riders who love the sound of thunder under them. The idea is that a louder exhaust makes other drivers notice you, keeping you safer on the road. But here's the truth. Noise doesn't travel the way riders think it does. Most of a motorcycle's sound projects behind it, not in front. That means the drivers who most need to hear you, the ones you're about to pass or who might pull out ahead, barely notice. By the time they hear the roar, you've already gone by. Mechanics who've installed countless aftermarket exhausts say it's more about ego than safety. Studies show that visibility gear, bright colors, and LED lights are far more effective than volume when it comes to being seen or noticed. Meanwhile, loud exhausts often attract the wrong kind of attention from law enforcement and irritated neighbors who complain until local councils start banning bikes. Even experienced mechanics say loud pipes do more harm than good in the long run. They can cause hearing fatigue, exhaust leaks, and even affect engine tuning if not properly adjusted. So no, loud pipes don't save lives. They just save you from peace and quiet. If you want to be noticed, wear bright gear, not a noise complaint. At number 8, you should warm up your bike for 10 minutes before riding. Older riders swear by this. Start the bike, let it idle, have a coffee, and then go. But that advice comes from carburetor days. Modern fuel-injected motorcycles don't need that kind of babying. Mechanics say the ideal warm-up time today is less than a minute. Just start the engine, wait for the oil to circulate, and ride off gently. The reason? Engines actually warm up faster when under light load, not sitting still. Extended idling wastes fuel, fouls spark plugs, and can even cause carbon buildup. Back when bikes had manual chokes and primitive fueling systems, long warm-ups were necessary to stabilize idle speeds. But now, computers handle that automatically. Keeping the bike idling for 10 minutes in 2025 is just burning gas for nostalgia's sake. There's one exception. If you live in freezing temperatures well below zero, a minute or two of idle time can help oil flow smoothly. Otherwise, your bike's ready to go as soon as the idle settles. So, skip the long warm-up ritual. Modern bikes don't need pampering, just a little patience and a smooth throttle for the first mile. At number 7, chain lube is optional. Plenty of riders, especially casual ones, think they can skip chain maintenance if the bike isn't ridden daily. But every mechanic will tell you that's a fast way to destroy your drivetrain. A dry or dirty chain doesn't just wear out faster, it wears out everything it touches. Chains need consistent lubrication and cleaning, especially if you ride in dusty, wet, or humid conditions. The metal-on-metal friction without proper lube creates heat, stretches the chain, and eats through sprockets. What starts as a small squeak can turn into a $300 repair in a few months. The correct schedule? About every 300 to 500 miles for normal use, or after every wet ride. And don't just spray lube on the outer links. Hit the inner side where it meets the sprockets. That's where it really counts. Mechanics often say, a clean chain is a happy chain, and it's not just talk. Skipping chain lube doesn't save time. It shortens your bike's lifespan. Plus, the smoother your chain, the smoother your throttle response and fuel economy. It's one of the easiest maintenance jobs that pays you back instantly. So next time you think of skipping that chain lube session, remember, it's not optional, it's essential. At number 6, all motorcycles need premium gas. A lot of riders still believe premium fuel equals better performance, like their bike will run cleaner, faster, or somehow healthier. But mechanics know the truth. Premium gas doesn't improve performance unless your engine was specifically designed for it. Octane rating isn't about power, it's about resistance to knocking. If your owner's manual says regular fuel is fine, using premium won't make it stronger. It just burns your money a little faster. Mechanics often find carbon buildup in bikes where owners think premium means superior. In reality, high-octane fuel can actually cause incomplete combustion in engines that don't need it. Of course, there's a catch. If you ride a high-compression performance bike, premium gas is a must. But that's because the engine is tuned for it, not because the fuel itself adds magic horsepower. For most commuter and mid-range bikes, regular unleaded burns perfectly and keeps the engine clean. If it runs smoothly and doesn't ping, you're using the right fuel. Mechanics say it all the time. Your bike doesn't know what you paid at the pump, so skip the unnecessary expense. Save the premium for bikes that actually need it, not the ones that just need a fill-up. At number 5, you can break in a new engine however you want. Plenty of riders think engine break-in is just a suggestion, that you can ride hard from mile 1 and it'll seat itself. Mechanics laugh at that one. Modern engines are finely machined, but they still need proper break-in for the rings, pistons, and bearings to settle correctly. The first few hundred miles decide how your engine wears for the rest of its life. Revving too high, too early, or lugging the motor at low RPMs can glaze the cylinder walls, causing oil burning and long-term power loss. On the other hand, babying it too much can prevent the parts from sealing properly. The right way? Follow the owner's manual, not internet myths. Most manufacturers recommend gentle throttle variation, not full throttle, but not constant speeds either. The goal is to let the engine experience light pressure changes so the rings seat evenly. Mechanics often say, you only break in an engine once, do it wrong, and it'll remind you forever. Modern oils also matter. Some mechanics prefer using mineral oil for the first 500 miles before switching to synthetic, just to ensure proper seating. It's not old school thinking, it's proven experience. So don't treat your first 600 miles like a race. A proper break-in isn't wasted time. It's an investment in decades of smoother riding. At number 4, Harleys leak oil because they're Harleys. This old joke dates back to the 1970s, and it's been haunting Harley-Davidson ever since. You've probably heard it. If it's not leaking, it's empty. But in 2025, that's flat out wrong. Modern Harleys are built to tight tolerances, with advanced seals, machining, and materials that make them just as reliable as Japanese cruisers. The myth survives because older Harleys, especially pre-Evo models, did leak oil, thanks to outdated gaskets, loose tolerances, and primitive crankcase venting. Those days are long gone. Mechanics who work on current Harleys say leaks now come from neglect, not design. Skipping oil changes, using the wrong filter, or over-tightening drain bolts are the real culprits. Even the transmission and primary cases are sealed with modern gaskets that prevent the weeping that old-timers used to accept as normal. Ironically, some riders still expect to see a few drops and think something's wrong when it's spotless, a sign of how deep this myth runs. But the truth is, Harley cleaned up its act decades ago. So if your Harley leaks oil today, it's not just being a Harley, it's just being neglected. Take care of it, and it'll stay as dry as any other bike on the lot. At number 3, washing your bike too often damages it. This one makes mechanics shake their heads. Some riders avoid cleaning their motorcycles because they think frequent washing will ruin the paint, rust the bolts, or damage electronics. The truth? The only thing washing destroys is dirt, not your bike. What does cause problems is washing it the wrong way. High-pressure jets pointed at bearings, switches, or chain seals can force water where it shouldn't go. But using mild soap, microfiber cloths, and low-pressure water is perfectly safe. And it actually prevents corrosion by removing road grime, salt, and chain residue that can eat through metal over time. Mechanics say one of the most common maintenance issues they see is dirt buildup causing rust on hidden bolts and swing arms, especially on bikes that look clean from afar. Regular washing, followed by chain lubrication and a quick wipe down of exposed metal parts, keeps everything running smoother and looking new longer. And modern bikes? They're designed to handle rain, puddles, and car washes. The electronics are sealed tight. You'd have to drown it to hurt it. So no, washing doesn't wear your bike out. Neglect does. A clean bike isn't just about looks. It's about longevity, and it tells you what's going on under the grime. At number 2, you can't tour on a small bike. This one gets repeated endlessly by riders who think touring means you need at least 1,000 cubic centimeters under you. Mechanics who've seen every kind of rider roll through the shop know better. Touring is about comfort and setup, not size. A 300 or 400 cubic centimeter bike can absolutely handle long-distance travel if it's well-maintained and properly equipped. Riders all over Asia and Europe have proven it for decades. Bikes like the Kawasaki Versys X 300 or Honda CB 500X regularly log thousands of miles with nothing more than a windshield, luggage rack, and patience. The truth is, smaller bikes can even be better for touring. They're lighter, easier on the body, and more fuel efficient. The only real trade-off is speed on long highways. But for riders who prefer scenic routes or country roads, that's no issue at all. Mechanics love small touring bikes because they're simple to maintain, cheap on parts, and often more reliable on long rides than overcomplicated adventure machines. Less power means less stress on components, and fewer chances for breakdowns. So no, you don't need a giant machine to see the world. You just need the right mindset, a comfy seat, and enough gas money to keep going. At number 1, motorcycles are unreliable by nature. This is the myth that refuses to die. The one non-riders love to throw around whenever they see a bike pulled over on the highway. Oh, those things always break down. But talk to any mechanic who's worked in the trade for more than a decade, and they'll tell you the opposite. Modern motorcycles are incredibly reliable if you treat them right. Back in the 1970s and 1980s, yes, bikes needed frequent tune-ups, valve checks, and carburetor balancing. But today's fuel-injected, computer-managed machines are engineered with tolerances tighter than ever. They'll easily go 50,000 miles or more without major issues. Many even double that. The weak link isn't the bike, it's the owner who skips oil changes, ignores chain maintenance, or waits too long to service brakes and fluids. Mechanics often joke that the biggest reliability issue in motorcycling is the rider's laziness, not the bike's design. Brands like Honda, Yamaha, and Kawasaki have engines that can outlast cars when properly cared for. Even budget bikes from brands like CF Moto or Royal Enfield have proven their long-term durability in recent years. The truth is simple. A motorcycle only becomes unreliable when the rider stops being responsible. Take care of it, and it'll never leave you stranded. If you've believed any of these, don't worry, most riders have. Which myth surprised you the most? Comment below and hit subscribe for more no-nonsense motorcycle breakdowns.